Radio. Rahim with Leonard Ellerbe. We're here at the Staples Center, not just hosting tonight's Sean Porter and Errol Spence fight, but right now hosting a press conference for the rematch between Wilder and Ortiz. It's a really entertaining fight the first time. What do you expect from the second time? Will anything be different? Have you learned anything about these fighters since the first matchup?
Yes, I know that this fight here is a very dangerous fight for both guys. And that's why you got to commend Deontay Wilder for asking for this. I mean, you know, when you look at Luis Ortiz, he's the kind of guy, he's a veteran that he has a tremendous skill set. Nobody's looking to raise their hand to fight that kind of guy, you know. And that's why I commend Deontay. He wants to kind of answer some questions that you guys had from the first fight. It was a very competitive fight. From the Ortiz perspective, he saw that he had some success, you know, in the fight, and he's looking to go back to that. You know, I know Wilder has improved from that last fight, and it's going to be a terrific fight. It's going to be a great fight.
You're right in that fight was exciting. There was a moment. It felt like maybe Ortiz could pull it off. But it ended definitively. There's no debate when the fight was over who'd won. That's not quite as true for the Tyson Fury and Wilder fight. It's unusual, I think, for a fighter to put two fights in front of him, both very difficult, both like re-facing adversity, really. We already know that. Do you feel like that second Fury fight is a greater challenge this time for him? And as a matchmaker, how did you feel when he came to you and said, yo, let's do both ahead of time. No matter what happens on the landscape, these are the two fights I want next.
Well, he's in a very dangerous fight come November 23rd. I really am not comfortable speaking on anything beyond that because, again, you have a guy that's coming to get his ass out of there on November 23rd. Ortiz has been in there with him. He knows what it's like. He's very motivated, excited, and he has said, and he just said it again, I'm getting ready to fuck all these plans up. He said, they talking about Tyson Fury and Wilder in a rematch. He said, I'm fucking all that up. So, I mean, that's what his plan is. And come November 23rd, we're going to see what he's going to do.
Well, we saw a guy who F'd some plans up pretty good just a couple months ago in Andy Ruiz.
Oh, yeah.
We saw Joshua go down unexpectedly, huge upset. People argue maybe one of the biggest upsets ever. When you saw that fight, what was your initial reaction?
I knew it was going to happen. And anybody close to my inner circle will tell you that. I mean, I've been a big Andy Ruiz fan. Actually, we had just co-promoted the fight April the 20th because he fought on the undercard of Danny and Granados. Yeah. So, you know, I was sitting right there. In the corral. I saw firsthand what he did to the tall Russian Dmitry, how you say his name? Yeah.
We won't blow that name right now.
Yeah. But I've always been a big fan of Andy Ruiz. You know, he has a tremendous skill set, fast hands. You know, he's been in the game for a long time. And I fully expect it to be a repeat of what happened earlier this year in their rematch.
In a way, was it a disappointment that now, even if Wilder and Joshua, if it's not a repeat, and Wilder and Joshua get together, does it take away from the potency of that fight now that Joshua's lost? You know, some people think Wilder lost to Fury.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is heavyweight boxing. I mean, you know, anything happens. You know, it was a very dangerous fight for Joshua to take. That's why I was blown away. It was like, who would be that fucking stupid to put his kid in with someone like Andy Ruiz who had just come off of a fight? You know, it's like, what are you thinking? But again, you know, this is what happens in the wonderful sport of boxing. You know, they try to put it on other things, but again, that's not the reason why that fight was made.
When you say, what do you think? You mean, was Joshua thinking or was Eddie thinking?
Both of them. I mean, that was an accident. It was a train wreck waiting to happen. And the same thing's going to happen in the rematch. What's going to be any different? What's going to be any different? He gonna come out strong. He gonna come out strong for the first few rounds. Gonna come out strong. And again, let me preface this by saying, I think Anthony Joshua is a very good fighter. I just think Andy Ruiz is a better fighter.
If this goes the way you're adamant that it will go, we got Andy Ruiz and Wilder then holding all the belts. Are we looking at Ruiz, Wilder up next instead of Fury?
That's not a question that I can answer. That would be a question that Al will have to answer. I kind of know the answer to that, but but again, that's why you fight the fights. That's why you can't get the looking ahead. That's why when people bring up and start talking about Fury, Deontay Wilder has a big-ass fight in front of him November 23rd. This man, he can fight his ass off. What is everybody thinking talking about Fury? Now, I understand the business part of it. I totally...
Well, that's what Wilder did.
No. I'm saying that, but this is what I'm saying. And he's supposed to do what he's doing, to take care of the business part. He's supposed to map out his future. That's what he's supposed to be doing. But I'm just saying, the fans, the media, you can't, Deontay Wilder is supposed to think like that. But Ortiz, he got some other plans in mind. Trust and believe that.
Turn our attention to Gervonta Davis. I know one of your favorite stars that you're working with. That smaller division, I mean, in weight and stature-wise, is getting a lot of attention, which is sometimes hard for them to get. Where do you think his path, where planning futures, gets him to separate from the other stars in that division, like to step away from and be maybe that calling card star?
He already is. What are you talking about? Name one of the top guys out there who ain't calling his name.
Right, but they're all calling each other's name. So somebody's got to separate from the herd.
There's one common name out there, 26, 30, and 35, that everybody's calling. One name.
Okay. I mean, there's Devin Haney. There's Lomachenko.
No.
Even Ryan Garcia.
No. And no disrespect to any of these fighters, but I'm just being totally honest with you. It's like Tank Davis is a ticket seller. He's a rising star in the sport. People know him outside of boxing. When Tank fights, he sells events out. A lot of these other younger fighters, and it has nothing to do with their skill set and them not being excellent young fighters, but they don't bring that to the table as of yet, because they're young. They're young, and they got to get to that point. You know, some of these young fighters, you see them, they fighting in venues that 3,000 people, and it's 1,500, 2,000 people in there. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's no fault to any of the fighters, but it's just where they are in their careers, and it's a process. That's why I'm saying that sometimes you can't put these young fighters, anoint them as being the next. And I'm saying that about Gervonta because the proof is in the pudding. He put asses in the seat, regardless of who he's fighting. You guys have criticized some of his opponents in the past, and et cetera. But guess what? He's selling out everywhere he goes, because guess what? Everybody wants to see him.
But you would agree that it's not an agreed upon position that Gervonta Davis is the best amongst the 35, 30, and 26 pounders. I mean,
that's my opinion.
But this is your opinion. But it's arguable. It's arguable.
I'm not saying it's not arguable, but I don't really give a fuck what anybody else think. That's my opinion.
So but it matters what other people think to a degree. If he's going to be the head and shoulders above star, doesn't he have to beat these guys to prove he's the best? That's what I'm talking about.
That comes in time. He can't fight everybody all at the same time. This is what I'm saying. He has proven already he is that name. He is that guy out there. He's that guy. And you know that? You name one guy that every fighter out there can make the most money with.
Okay.
Name every top guy. And who do they make the most money with?
Okay, I don't know, but I'll take your word for that. Like, okay, so that being the case, I don't know the numbers. I'll admit that I don't know everybody's checks or what everybody's getting to fight who or how. You know what I mean? But I understand and take you at your word that certainly he's in the top level. That's why I'm asking the question. He's one of those guys.
Okay, for an example, again, it's name recognition, star power, and that's where he's at. That's where Tank is that guy. Whether you like it or not, you gotta come see him. You want? Why do you think these young fighters are calling his name out? Because Gervonta Davis represents the biggest payday out there for anybody yet. Any of these young fighters, older fighters, whatever, who moving up from 26 to 30, from 30 to.
What win would you think gives him the most credibility? He's got. Let's assume he's got the most money or is the most bankable. But everybody has a pound for pound list. Everybody in boxing cares who's the best at what division.
I don't really care. I'm not a big fan of the pound for pound list. I'm a big fan of the pound for pound bank accounts. Okay. And again, the legacy part of that too, being the best and beating the best guys out there. But why not do both?
When it comes to that financial aspect of it, we saw a big public spat between Ryan Garcia and his promoter and the matchmaker.
Yeah,
everybody saw that.
I saw that.
But
I like Ryan. That is my little dude. He's a cool ass dude. I like him. He's a fly, smooth dude. I like the young cat.
And you've always said that. It's funny, like the relationship between the two of you.
Yeah.
But it seemed like overnight Oscar bandaged that up, and then they were ready to announce a new contract.
I don't wish nothing bad on anybody's situation. I'm happy that he was able to work that out with his promoter. Again, wish him nothing but the best. He's a terrific young kid. I like him. I always will like him. You know, we have a mutual respect for one another. He's my little dude. I like him.
He's making the right decisions about his money?
I can't speak on another man's situation. He's not my fighter. I don't know what they got going on. I can speak on my fighters.
Would you like to match up Ryan Garcia with one of your fighters?
Sure. Sure. He's part of this new age and this new era of social media where he has gained a lot of attention out there with the younger fan base, and I think that's great for the sport. And he's went out there and he's done that pretty much on his own. And I applaud him for that. I mean, you know, that alone will bring him increased visibility. And alone, that will help him with that too.
Let me just touch on another fight. Just as an analyst, I know that you're a boxing fan in addition to a promoter. Kovalev, Canelo. Some people were surprised by that, some weren't. But did you think that it's a wise decision for Canelo to take on a fight at 175 pounds?
Of course it is. Man, you got to understand how this game. One thing I will give Robert and Eric and them credit for. They're very good at matching guys. I mean, you know, sometimes your guys are not going to win all the fights. We put our guys in tough. So you're not going to win all your fights unless you're Tank Davis. I'm saying when you get to that level, you know.
Right.
But I'm saying it's like they picked him for a reason.
What do you think that reason was?
Come on, man. We ain't stupid. Come on, man. He asked for that work. He asked for that. He said, "Go get me. I want him," and that's what he got. I mean, you know, he knows what he's doing. I applaud Canelo. He's terrific fighter. He's one of the most improved fighters I think in the sport. You know, especially since 2013, he's added a lot of different things to his arsenal, which is very, very impressive. You know, and he's a very good fighter. Very good fighter. I'm impressed.
Other than the fighters in your stable, do you think Canelo's your favorite fighter out there?
No. He's not my favorite. I got a lot of favorite fighters. I like all the fighters. There are a lot of excellent fighters out there in the sport. I mean, I don't want to leave anybody out single. But it's a lot of good fighters, out there in the entire sport. Not just with this company or that company. It's a lot of terrific fighters out there in the sport. And
lastly of all, on this subject especially, of all these talented guys, which one would you think gives Gervonta Davis the best fight? What's the toughest competition out there for him?
Gervonta Davis.
Fighting himself?
He's his toughest opponent.
How do you mean that?
Because if Gervonta Davis continues to do the things that he needs to do, he's watch. You'll see. Again, we went to 35. We want the smoke.
That's what I'm getting. Okay.
We didn't go down a division. We going to the work. They say that's where the work is. Okay, that's where we want to go.
Yeah, there we go. Radio Rahim with Leonard Ellerbe. Always a pleasure to talk to you, man.
My dude.
Yes, it's been fun. We don't have to do this again soon.
Yeah,
Radio Rahim with Leonard Ellerbe.